got this ball club here that I root for, this football team, the Vikings. You know, the NFL Minnesota Vikings, of course. And I just thought I might do a video about my history as a Viking fan and why it sucks ass to be a Viking fan. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the Vikings, okay? I do. They, in any game they are involved in, I'm rooting for them, of course, just because I'm a fan of theirs. And have been my whole life. But they never bring anything, man. They never brought me anything. They never gave me a championship, you know? It's just, they've been to like 5 NFC championship games in my rooting time. And, of course, before I even started rooting for them, so let's talk about that. You know, I was born in 1971. I didn't become a football fan until, like, I think the 82 season was the first one. Yeah, the 82 season was the first full one I actually remember. But I do remember the very last game of the 81 season because by then I discovered sports. And we were at Kmart. Remember Kmart? There was a Kmart in Austin back then. You know, there's not a Kmart anywhere now, I don't think. But in their TV department there, where they got all the TVs on the wall, you know. The game was playing. They're playing the Chiefs. It was the last game at Metropolitan Stadium before they moved to the Metro. The last one. And I remember seeing a glimpse of that. That was my first memory of actually seeing the Vikings play on TV. I don't remember. I think I just literally like watched the nightly news later to find out they lost or whatever. Yeah. But because they lost 10-6 in this game. It's kind of sad ending. They lost their last game at the Met. Too bad. But then I kind of got more and more into sports over the off season and got into baseball a lot and everything. And then the 82 season, which was the year we had the strike that wiped out. You know, everyone played 9 games, so wiped out 7 games. That was back when it was 16 games. It should be 16 still. It's a perfect number. I don't know why they went to like 17. I don't get it. But anyway, it wiped out 7 games, but you only had 9 games, and the NFL decided, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll let the top 8 teams in each conference go to the playoffs. Okay, fine. That was my first Viking team, the 82 Vikings. And they went 5-4 in their 9 games. Made the playoffs as a 4 seed. Played Atlanta in the first round. Yeah, we beat them this time. There'll be a time later where we don't beat them. That is just basically I almost slipped my fucking wrist. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, we beat them this time. I believe 30-24. We move on to the semifinals of the conference against the number 1 seed, the Redskins, who were just having a hell of a year, a dream year. They were 8-1. Joe Theismann, John Riggins, you know, Hogs, Redskin team, just a great team. We lost 21-7, and quite honestly, I don't think it was that close. Yeah, it just wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we made it a little bit respectable on the scoreboard at least, but no, they were just dominant. They go on to win the Super Bowl, the Redskins, and yeah, they should still be that, by the way. But anyway, they should not be the Commanders. And so we move on. 83, I believe we went 8-8. I'm not going to be doing this, by the way. I'm not going to go year by year because I will absolutely forget once we get further on. But I remember things. 1984. I remember that. Bud Grant retired after the 83 season, okay? After, 16 seasons? And instead of putting Jerry Burns as head coach, which he should have frickin' done right then, they named Les Steckel, this assistant thing, the head coach. Oh my God, that guy. The team hated him. by the end of the year, and we went 3-13 that year. It was just dreadful. It was so bad. By the end of the year, the last 4 or 5 games, every game was an absolute wipeout. And they quit. They fucking quit on him. To the point where, at the end of the year, the front office wise up as they just fired him. And they kind of said, hey, look, Grant, can you come back for one more year? Just kind of steady the ship a little bit, and then we'll go to Jerry Burns or something. And that's what ended up happening. Then, like 85, I think they went 7-9, which, it's still not great or anything, but at least they're back in respectability. And yeah. And so we're in the wilderness for a couple of years here. 86, they don't make the playoffs. I can't remember what they did, but they did get 8-8 or some shit. I don't even remember. And then 87, the other strike year. Now that was the year where you only lose one game to the strike. Only one week lost. It was not a long strike. They figured it out, or work stoppage, whatever it was. And we only went 8-7 in our 15 games, but we made the playoffs. We backed in, sort of, because the Cowboys, if they'd won their last game against the Cardinals, would have slipped past us to be the second wild card, but they weren't. So we got in, fine. And we played the wild card playoff game. We're on the New Orleans Saints. Okay, we're 8-7, right? The setup back then, I should go over this. In each conference was you had 3 divisions: East, Central, and West, and then the 3 division champions and the 2 wild cards, the next 2 best teams. So we got the last playoff berth. The other team that had the other wild card, and that's how it works. You play the wild card game first, the first week. Is the 2 conferences play a wild card game. And then the next week we go to the divisional round. We're playing the New Orleans Saints. Now the Saints, a little better. They, despite not winning the division, were 12-3. Because the 49ers, who were ahead of them, that won the division, were 13-2. So we're going into New Orleans, and this is just an emotionally charged game for them, because this is their first ever playoff game. They've been around since 1967. They had never made the playoffs, never had an over 500 team till this year. And so this Viking team that's 8-7 is coming in. Oh, they're going to be easy pickings, right? Final score, this is so good. Vikings 44, Saints 10. Yeah. I don't feel too bad about the Saints right now, because they did get their Super Bowl eventually. It took a while, but they got it. We haven't gotten ours yet, so fuck you. They did eventually get a Super Bowl. But they had a habit there in the early days where they actually started to make the playoffs of losing in the first round against teams that they should have beaten. Okay, so we win. And so what are we? The low seed left. So we have the high seed. Well, San Francisco. We got to go out to Candlestick Park. I think it's a 13-2 49ers with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and John Taylor, and everybody, Randy Cross, and all those guys. Just a great fucking team. And just who would win the next 2 after this year? The next 2 Super Bowls, and probably should have won the next one after that. I mean, they could have easily won 4 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, they got 2, which is, the best anyone's ever done anyway, other than 1 or 2 other teams. But yeah, the Niners, man. We go in there, final score, Vikings 36, 49ers 24. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was not that close. They got a garbage touchdown late, I believe. It really wasn't by the end of the game. By the fourth quarter, the game was over. There was no way that, we just go in and shock the world. Now, we are going to the NFC Championship game, or we're going to RFK Stadium in Virginia there, or Landover, Maryland, or wherever the hell it was. They play the Redskins. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the weakest team we played of the 3. which is funny because they had played us during the regular season and beaten us at the Dome. That's kind of a stupid thing to think. They beaten us by a field goal. It was a close game. They beat us by a field goal late in the year at the Dome. And, but still though, they are the weakest team we have actually played of the three. We should be able to beat this team, I'm thinking, the way we're playing now. Wade Wilson, man. See, Wade Wilson was just incredible in the first two rounds. Chris Carter. No, wasn't Chris Carter. We're talking about Anthony Carter. Sorry. Chris Carter wasn't there yet. Anthony Carter was incredible. It looked, man, like we'd go to the Super Bowl and probably get the Denver Broncos, who we'd probably beat because they lost to everybody in the Super Bowl. We could probably beat them. But we kind of were flat in this game. We just were. I mean, we were in it all the way till the very end. I mean, the final was 17-10 Redskins. But we ended the game, it's like whatever in goal, 4th and goal from the 5-yard line at the very end of the game. We going for a tying touchdown maybe. And Wade Wilson throws the ball to Darren Nelson, who drops it. He didn't really drop it. It was kind of just, I don't think it was a well-thrown ball. And the ball hits the ground, game over, Redskins win, go to the Super Bowl. Oh, man, God help us. Just, it was not their day anyway. They were flat as hell for the most part. They didn't win. It happens. I mean, that's what happened to me. In my rooting experience, an NFC Championship loss, it won't be the last one. Oh, God, no. It will not. There are going to be some bad ones. And some that are just, blah. We just lost because we saw it. We didn't chance. So what were they? 87, 88, 88, 89. Okay, so now we're in the Jerry Burns era, and this is an era that's weird. Is like, we're pretty good. Our defense is really good in this time. The offense is okay, but for some reason we could never make a run in the playoffs. After we beat the 49ers in the 87 thing, I talking about, we would lose to them 2 more years in a row after that and get killed in the playoffs. There, at their place, at Candlestick. I mean, we just weren't in their class. We just get killed. We never, obviously, full disclosure, in my lifetime, I've never seen us in a Super Bowl, of course, because we've not made it since the 1976 season, which I was 4 years old and didn't care about sports then. But yeah, we lose in the playoffs, blah, 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 whatever. It's just not good. And then we make this stupid trade with Dallas. It's like 1990 or whatever the hell it was. The Herschel Walker trade. Oh, the Herschel Walker trade. Herschel Walker was this stud guy, and a lot of you know who he is, of course. Of course you do. He's a pretty famous guy. A lot of you know this, but he was most likely slightly past his prime as a NFL running back when we got him. But, we don't know that. And so we go to the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson, who's fucking a used car salesman, okay? This guy gets like 10 draft picks out of us. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was 10. It was a lot, though. He got like 6, maybe. 6 draft picks, and all good ones. You give me 6 draft picks there, and I'll give you Herschel Walker. And we needed a running back. And that's what we thought we needed. That was what we thought we were missing. And so we give him that. Make the trade. Here comes Herschel. Coming to Minnesota, man. In his first game, he ran for 148 yards against Green Bay. But one of the runs he made was like a 65-yard touchdown run, which was, good. Where his shoe came off. I'll never forget that. The rest of it was kind of pedestrian, and it just pretty much, God, it just sucked from there on. He just never really was anything good. Herschel Walker, man. God, if we had gotten him in his absolute prime, it would have been cool. but we got him a little bit post-prime, and really it was post-prime. He never really regained his form. He later played for the Eagles after he left us finally. I mean, his Viking career was forgettable. It just was not worth what we gave up. And basically, we made the Dallas Cowboys like 3-time world champions. Our draft picks. They used our draft picks and drafted all these people like Troy Aikman and shit. And yeah, all those people. They made the early 90s Cowboys were built partially from the Minnesota Vikings trading Herschel Walker to them for a bunch of draft, or trading draft picks to them for Herschel Walker. Oh my God, I'm just in agony here. And eventually, Jerry Burns, I don't remember if he fired him or he stepped down. I don't think they fired Jerry Burns. I don't think Jerry Burns got fired. I think he just resigned and quit. Wanted to retire. So they bring in, Dennis Green. Dennis Green, who had coached Northwestern and Stanford. And his first year was 92. And the team was rolling, man. We won the division, made the playoffs. Everything was great. We're hosting the first round playoff game against the White Sox, the Bears, and a team we should destroy. We probably beat them twice that year, for all I know. I don't remember, because in our division we won twice, and we end up losing by way more points than we should probably have lost. That becomes a theme in the Denny Green era. We make the playoffs a whole bunch of times. Don't ever fucking win any playoff games. We just don't. It's so sad. It's just sad. I mean, 93 and then there's some years in there where we just didn't have a good year and didn't make anything, which makes sense too, but. And then, 1997, we make the playoffs. And we're playing the first round against the Giants in New York. Now, this was a memorable game. We're down to this team, okay, by 9 points I can't remember how much time was left, but it was not much. It was like 4 minutes to go, and we were punting. So we're 2 possessions down, and we're punting, and yet we somehow won the damn game. I still don't know what happened. And there was no turnovers involved. They got the ball, went 3 and out. We used our timeouts and shit. They punt us. We get a touchdown. And then, we kick back to them. And it wasn't an onside kick either. We had enough time. We did this quickly. It was amazing. And then they go 3 and out again, punt us. We get to field goal range, kick a field goal, win the game 23-22. The first time Denny Green won a playoff game. How about that? And then we got killed next week. But, at least he got one. He got a win. And he's going to get one more playoff win. Well, 2 more probably, to be honest. But they're always precursor to worse games. The next week, like I said, the Giants. Okay. So then 1998. This was the year, man. This was the year we should have won everything. Or at least got to the Super Bowl, because it would have been Denver. And that would have been formidable. They were the defending champions, and they were a very good team. It would not have really bothered me all that damn much if we had lost to them in the Super Bowl. I mean, it would have been disappointing. It would have sucked that day. But looking back, I would have thought, you know what? That was a great team that we lost to. I can handle that. But no. This team comes out here in 98 and just destroys people. Just absolutely destroys people. It is, most games, the template for Viking football that year. Like, you're up 14-0, 8 minutes into the game. And it just goes from there. Now the defense can blitz on every play. And it just gets worse. And we just kill teams. We lost the one-game campaign in the middle of the year. They could have went 16-0 that year. Because that game was a one-score game. It was at Tampa, and they were coached by what's his face. Yeah, you know, really bad. I can't remember that. Of course, the Colts. Yeah, that guy too. And that's embarrassing. This will probably not go on YouTube for that or that is so embarrassing. I don't remember the coach of the Tampa Buccaneers. That Tony Dungy, is it? No, whatever. Anyway, they go 15-1. They just roll through the schedule, man. They just are a steamroller. Now every other team in a that goes 15-1, 14-2 is going to win the Super Bowl usually. They're just the team, it's just their year. Well, it continued to look like our year a little bit. We didn't play the wild card round this year, of course. We got a first round bye and second round bye too. We get the Cardinals, Arizona. Their first ever playoff presence in Arizona, at least. We pretty much kicked their asses, like 41-21. And then the next week, the Atlanta Falcons are going to come to the Dome for the NFC Championship game. Now, I was a little apprehensive about this game because they were 14-2, but not as impressive as us. They would like grind games out with their defense and the run and everything. Yeah, there wasn't anything flashy. And, they threw the ball here and there, but a little bit not flashy. And the whole game looked like we're going to win the game. God damn it. We fucking oh my lord. That game sucked. We should have won that game. We had them. We could have won. But for some reason, I think part of the problem is that we had a lot of injuries on defense. And it started to tell. But God help us. They got a touchdown before halftime because they were an interception. And they got a touchdown. They went on a field goal. Last second field goal. Falcons 30, Vikings 27. That's all I'm going to say about that game. It still haunts me to this fucking day. And obviously, I bit off more than I could chew here. Viking history is very vast. And I think this might be a good place to stop for now. I might do a part 2. Probably won't. I don't know. Not that interesting to me, really. But I might. But this is where I'm going to stop this, and I am skull.